On the SAT, I'm really bad at rearranging sentences in the writing section. Any tips to improve? So this is in the writing test. You also see these on ACT English. These are these questions where you are told that you have to look at sentence 3 or something, and you need to know, should you keep it where it is, or should you move it before sentence 1 or after sentence 5 or anything like that. So it's all about rearranging sentences. So I do have a few tips for this. I go through this in more detail in the SAT writing course and ACT English bootcamp, which are available for free on my website, members.reasonprep.com, or you can see them on YouTube, but it's best results on my website. So you can get those courses. So some quick tips though for these. First thing you want to look for. First thing is you have to read the whole paragraph. So a lot of times students get tunnel vision with the sentence and they just focus too much on the sentence and not get a sense of the paragraph as a whole. So make sure you're reading the whole paragraph. You can't get away with, on either test really, just reading portions of the passages. You do have to read through the whole thing. You don't have to read through the whole passage before you go to the questions, but you do have to read through the whole thing as you go along. Second thing to look for is look for keywords or phrases in the question. Examples would be names, dates, titles, terms. So for example, if the sentence mentions a name, maybe it says Rogers. Rogers said this, Rogers said that. Most likely that sentence is going to have to come after the person's introduced. If they use a term like, I don't know, doesn't really matter, entanglement. So if they use a fancy term like entanglement and you want to know, and that's been defined elsewhere in the paragraph, well then probably this sentence is going to go after a definition of entanglement. If the sentence you're moving has a definition of something or introduces an idea, or if it says something like, this theory states, these are all clues telling you this sentence needs to be either before or after, depending on the case, other sentences in the paragraph. Another point is look for logical flow. And this is principle number 2. I talk about the 4 principles in my courses for rhetorical skills. You want to make sure that your choice flows with the sentences around it. So for example, look for transition words like however, for example. Well, or for example, look for transition words. Look for, what was the other thing I was going to say? Crap. Look for transition words and, yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that. Look for transition words. Oh, and chronology. So if it says something like then, blah, 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 you know this is part of a sequence of events. Make sure it fits the chronology. The final thing to look for is if you have to move the sentence, look at how the sentence interacts with its new neighbors. So if you're going to move a sentence to sentence 2's position, how does it interact with sentence 1 and sentence 3? You want to look at that flow with the immediate sentences around it, sentence 1 and sentence 3. So those are some general tips for these types of questions. Again, it applies not just to SAT, but also to ACT. And like I said, I go into a lot more detail in this in the courses, the SAT writing course and the ACT English. To learn more about Reason Prep's SAT, SAT subject test, and ACT video courses, go to reasonprep.com/enroll, and you can find the link in the description below the video.